Penis Pliskin, Penis Pliskin, Penis Pliskin. So, Resident Evil 4 Remake got announced, and that's kind of a big deal. It's not every single day a game company goes, hey, you know that game, one of the greatest games of all time, something that's almost universally loved on a large scale? Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna remake that. There's so much to talk about there, so much to be worried about, so much to get excited for, but rather than talk about that, I figure let's revisit. Well, we never really left, let's be honest. Anyone who's ever played Resident Evil 4 probably never stopped playing Resident Evil 4. So let's just take a look at where we're at right now with the weapon sandbox and do a little list. Lists are fun, let's talk about what the best guns in Resident Evil 4 are, before we see how they change up the sandbox and rework things for the remake. Now, talking about what guns in Resident Evil 4 is best is different from just ranking guns in any other game, because the Resident Evil 4 community kind of tends to pick the guns that they love, and they stand by it. They will die on that hill. Look at any debate talking about whether or not Red 9 is better than the starter handgun when they're both fully leveled up. So, because of that, I want to talk about the rubric I'm using before I start listing these weapons out. Now, there's 4 main categories in which I'm going to be rating these guns by. The first is the ammo availability. The second is their cost. Cost both takes into consideration how much they cost when you first acquire them, as well as how much they cost to make viable for the late game by fully upgrading them. Next, we have versatility. This is more so coming to range and how you handle it. Can a weapon go to long distances? If it can it also deal with short distances? Is it a mid-range weapon? That sort of thing. And lastly, we're going to be talking about damage, which is pretty self-explanatory. Now, for each of these things, I made a whole chart and everything. I'm not going to show it because it's very crudely drawn and spoils the list. However, I have it rated on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 being horribly unusable, 2 being niche, 3 being average, 4 being dependable, and 5 being dominant strategy. And I took this scale and I applied it to each of those 4 categories for all of the weapons in the game. And after looking at the results of that, and then going back and playing the game over and over again and testing out every single gun, even the ones I don't really use that often, I finally put together a top 5 list for the best weapons in Resident Evil 4. I should also mention that in this video, we're going to be ranking the sandbox that's mostly just in the game right from the start. We're not going to be looking at, second playthrough unlockables or meme guns like the infinite ammo Tommy gun. We're going to be going with more the weapons that every player is going to experience when they go through this game. So jumping right into it, we come to the number 5 spot, which is the Broken Butterfly. Now, this one here beats out the 45 Magnum for a couple reasons. The first being, you can get this thing for free. If you double back after you get past the part where Luis dies, and you go back to this weird little door frame here with Ashley, you can boost her through it and she'll unlock it for you, and you'll find a whole bunch of treasure chests. Now, in one of these treasure chests, you'll find the Broken Butterfly. And this thing packs a punch. It is everything you expect from a Resident Evil Magnum. And this is without any upgrades. Without any upgrades, it's completely viable to kill harder enemies with just a few shots, and to really drain down a boss's health. That being said, you can upgrade this thing and it makes it even more insanely powerful. The reload will never be as fast as the Colt 45, and it's never going to have the speed of that gun. However, in terms of what you want out of a Magnum, first and foremost is going to be power. Now again, you might be thinking, Pliskin, why would such a powerful gun be lowest on this list? Well, it's because its ammo is incredibly niche. This isn't so much an issue with this gun in particular as it is with the Magnum category in general. And I mean, come on, who doesn't want to watch this reload over and over again?
Wait here.
Coming in at 4th place, we're going to have the SemiAuto Rifle, which is the second sniper rifle that you can unlock in the game. Now, sniper rifles in Resident Evil 4 are surprisingly usable. Usually when you have a sniper rifle in a game, an action game like this, it's reserved for very niche roles, a specific segment, or certain enemy types, or in an open world game, it's kind of like the default stealth weapon. But to think of it as a weapon that you actually rely on, more so than a lot of the other guns in the game, is kind of weird and unique to Resident Evil 4. So the reason why this beats out its bolt-action counterpart is the damage and penetration combo is insane. Like the bolt-action, this thing here can be upgraded to take down most enemies in a very small amount of hits. You find so much ammo for snipers in this game. For both the bolt-action and this rifle here, it's going to be very rare that you come completely dry. Once you have a sniper, you can find this ammo in greater availability than most of the other ammo types in the game. I'd even say the only ammo type that shows up more than sniper ammo in Resident Evil 4 would be pistol ammo, and maybe arguably shotgun ammo. Still, the reason why this bumps up over the bolt action is because with all that ammo, with all that damage, with all that penetration, you can make this thing go fast. So whereas the bolt action stays in that sniper rifle role, you could turn this into more of a DMR type of weapon, where yes, I can snipe with this, but I can deal with some of the awkwardness at closer ranges to take out enemies that might be swarming me. And I can do it very quickly, bringing it into that core kind of crowd control purpose that Resident Evil 4 has. You see, in Resident Evil 4, there are two modes of combat in which you really use your weapons. The first is accuracy, pinpointing a limb or the head or shooting something particularly far away. And then the second one is crowd control, what to do when you have a lot of enemies on screen that you need to either eliminate or create space for yourself very quickly. This weapon can do both, and because of that, I give it the leg up over the bolt-action rifle. And again, the reason why it outclasses that Magnum is because you get so much power, so much ammo, and it's just so fast. It's only below the other entries on this list because of that awkwardness of having to go into the scope every time you use it. So even though it's a versatile weapon, it still kind of shows its faults in comparison to other guns that would be better in that crowd clearing or quick firing role. Coming now into 3rd place, we have the Riot Gun. Now this is where a lot of people are going to start getting pissed off, because when we start getting to the shotguns and pistols, people tend to pick their favorite and they defend that feverishly. Don't worry, we're going to get to honorable mentions in a second and talk more about some of the other weapons that people love. However, this shotgun here takes the cake for me, because it's got the best range and damage balance. The starter shotgun can be upgraded to have the greatest range in the game, where no matter what range you're aiming at with an enemy, the damage drop-off doesn't really happen. The striker has the most damage and crowd clearing potential at closer ranges, as well as having the most ammo capacity. This shotgun here is right in between the both of them, where you get much more range than the striker and much more damage than the standard shotgun. Now you might be thinking, Pliskin, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to give this shotgun in particular love? Because there's so many weapons in the game that do more damage than it. I mean, the semi-auto rifle and the Magnum are so much more powerful, and yes, but again, it's not just about hitting an enemy really accurately and really powerfully, it's about clearing that space. And when it comes to clearing space, I feel this is the best balanced weapon for that role, because you can clear out a bunch of enemies in front of you. Literally the entire screen. However, if you do need to reach out just a little further and it's more convenient than switching to another weapon that might be better suited for that role, this shotgun can still get the job done in that sense too. And that's why I proudly give this not just the best shotgun in this game, but also one of the best shotguns in any game. I will die on that that hill.
Watch out for me.
The second place weapon is the TMP. This would be the best gun in the game if you found more ammo. That being said, you can still pack on a shit ton of ammunition and upgrade this to hold a lot of ammo. And it does hold a lot more ammo than most other guns in the game. Still, TMP ammo is not going to be as common as shotgun, rifle, or pistol ammo. It's close up there with like shotgun ammo, however rifle and pistol ammo rival it out, and that makes this a dependable weapon. So going back to that whole idea of the scale, this does put this as like an overall 4 for most of the categories, but it's not a dominant strategy. If you try to go through the entire game using only the TMP, it's not going to work out because you will run dry, and there will come times where another gun is needed. However, this gun here can be upgraded to be a pocket LMG, and the damage that it can do and the high fire rate mixed together with the high ammo count makes this easily one of the best guns in the game. I can use this for pinpoint mid-range, much like I would with pistols, if I'm just a lot more patient with the trigger. If I want to make it past early game bosses and just drill them down with a shit ton of ammunition, I can do that with this gun. If I want to do some crowd clearing, I can easily do that. Again, this is like the god tier weapon. We're in that echelon now, where it's just, this isn't losing out because it's not, the best gun. This is one of the best guns in the game. This is one of the must-have guns in the game. Let me just put it this way. You go back and try playing through Resident Evil 4. Do a playthrough with the TMP, and then do a playthrough without the TMP. You will feel this gun's absence. It's a boss breaker, it's a crowd clearer, and it's an accurate pistol substitute. What's not to love?
Leave it to me, Leon.
Now, before we get to the number 1 spot, I want to talk about some honorable mentions. Now, of course, we have the knife. The knife is really often overlooked, but ask anyone who's gotten really good at Resident Evil 4, and you can pretty much go through the entire game with just the knife, if you get good enough, that is. We have the starter handgun, which you can upgrade to get to the point where if you shoot someone in the head, it's always going to be a critical head explosion. So for those players that are willing to, again, go through that skill gap and get really good at being really accurate, this gun becomes supreme. We have the striker. I mean, how could I not talk about the striker? You have a shotgun that can hold up to 100 rounds and is in semi-automatic, making it much faster than all of its counterparts. It also does the most damage. This shotgun here was a very close contender for that number 3 spot and that best shotgun role. The only reason I held it back a little bit more is because in the versatility category, it's not as high as the Riot Gun, but we talked about that a little bit already.
Upstairs. Okay, it's game time.
Now here we are, the most controversial spot on the list. What is the best gun in Resident Evil 4? A lot of you already know what it's going to be, just by the fact that I haven't mentioned it yet, and I put the starter handgun in the honorable mentions. That is the Red 9. Now, what can't this pistol do? It has the best balance of damage, accuracy, and capacity. It's a pistol, so the ammo is always going to be available. You have other contenders, for example, on repeat playthroughs like the VP70, but that burns through ammo really quickly. The semi-automatic nature of this makes it so that you can have all that ammo, use it all, but you're not really sacrificing your accuracy or putting more than you need to shoot. It does more damage than any of the other pistols, which is an infinite win in my book. In terms of its versatility, with the stock attachment, you can make this rival out even some of the rifles with the ranges that you can use this thing on. It's very similar to the TMP in that way, where it kind of bridges its role through a whole bunch of different categories. But then if you want something for more faster firing and quicker moving in close quarters, you can take that stock off, and this gun works just as well there. The reload is sexy as hell, which instantly gets it more points in my book. But the biggest thing that makes this the number one gun in Resident Evil. Is that, you know what, I might be able to go through the game without using the TMP, and I'll feel its absence and it'll suck, but I can still soldier through. But playing through this game without the Red 9 feels like I am intentionally shooting myself in both kneecaps and trying to make the experience so much harder. This is such a clear winner for its power, its accuracy, its versatility, and its ammo capacity, and the abundance of it that you find throughout the game, because again, pistol ammo. It's just such a dead easy place to give. The Red 9 is the best gun in the game. If you disagree with me, go ahead and put it in the comments below. Anyways, this has been Pliskin. Really excited for the Resident Evil 4 remake. Let me know what you thought about my list down below if there's any weapons I forgot about, and I'll see you guys in the next video.